Today we'll be taking a look at the Ingenuity Utility Belt. This is definitely the best item I've reviewed so far. The benefits are absolutely massive compared to what you typically see on this gear type. It also gets better as you improve your 2 rings. This belt doesn't drop from a random enemy. You have to get lucky killing the King of the Mist boss. You won't be able to get this drop from the campaign either. It has to be from the one in the in-game using the item in Audience with the King. This item you need to fight him is actually acquired from the nameless rituals in the in-game or from other players at the in-game trading NPC Alva. Let's take a look at this belt in more detail. So the stats for this belt are actually pretty straightforward. It increases the bonuses you gain from your rings by anywhere from 40 to 98% depending on the role and if it's corrupted or not. It also applies 20% of flask recovery instantly when you use both health or mana. There's not any other stat bonuses here. So if you end up with a cheap one with low ring boosting stats, you can always use divine orbs to gamble it up to the top. You may be able to save an easy 20 divine orbs doing it this way if you're lucky. Just make sure that the one you purchase from another player isn't already corrupted, because that'll actually prevent you from being able to modify it any further. You could even keep buying, selling it after you smash it with the Val Orb, and reselling it again to help fund another attempt until you end up with a really good corrupt with less investment. When you corrupt this belt, you have a 1 in 3 chance of the following things to happen. It can do nothing, it can re-roll the range of the ring boost affix by up to 20% higher or lower, and it could also add a corrupted mod stat. Ideally, you want to hope for this plus 20% to the ring stat or as high as possible, because that'll end up nearly doubling the bonus stats from both of your rings with a whopping 98% stat increase. The stat gain is massive thanks to the fact that you can wear 2 rings and you have total control over the stats that you decide to wear. The better your rings are, the more you'll benefit, so this scales really well as you keep improving your character into the endgame. Also, just in case I forgot to mention this earlier, the belt has a level requirement of 55, so you can actually pretty much get this at the end of the Cruel Mode campaign, if you can afford it. Between my 2 rings, I get a total of around 147% bonus to my lightning damage, and that's without even taking the rest of my ring stats into consideration. Those numbers aren't shown in the DPS of the menu for skills, but what you do see here are for the smaller flat bonuses to my attacks. These flat stats amount to around a 30% DPS boost for my main skill. The 20% instant recovery with flasks is really just icing on the cake. And this fatty likes his cake. Not really. I don't really care much for cake. There isn't really much to be said about this in terms of the negatives. You can't get 3 charm slots, but honestly, I think it's well worth the trade-off. You might need to replace some of your other pieces of gear to max out your resistances again, but it will be much easier to do and leave some room for other stats to be the focus. Just plan ahead if you're concerned about this and do rely on your defenses. I tend to run more squishy ranged AoE builds with very heavy crowd control, so I just personally focused more on boosting my raw DPS rather than resistances, and I still came out a little ahead on defenses. Again, it's definitely worth it. Now this belt is very expensive. It will cost you anywhere from 5 to 500 divine orbs depending on the ring boost and whether or not it's been corrupted. I went ahead and got a plus 80% belt for 37 divine orbs, and I tried my luck with smashing a Vol into it. Nothing happened. I may sell it for around the same price and try again, but for now I'm just going to use it for a little bit and see what happens with the prices a little bit later. As a side note, only relevant to the period that this is uploaded, there's currently a known exploit which was helping people obtain these at higher rolls, so the prices of the best ones may end up dropping even further until GGG takes action. This is of course just a possibility due to potential oversaturation in the market. Don't take it as a fact. Once the exploit is fixed, it may or may not get more expensive due to it being harder to get. We don't know yet how they'll deal with this either, and the items gained or sold, so buy at your own risk. As for me, I chose to buy one now. Also, don't be a dick and cheat. It won't get you very far long term. It's just not worth it. This is most definitely the best piece of gear we've reviewed on this channel so far. It's expensive, but it's definitely worth farming or buying from another player. This is an easy 10 out of 10. I'm looking forward to the next great unique that I get the opportunity to review. And in the meantime, I'll just be banging out maps in the in-game. I'll see y'all later. Hey, thanks for watching. I've got more content like this and other stuff on the way. Feel free to drop a like and make fun of me in the comments. See ya!